If you want to get into the top 1% of UI UX designers in the world and level up your portfolio, this is the project just for you. Today we're going to build this complete marketing agency landing page UI in Figma in 2025. The color scheme, shapes, typography, and overall aesthetic are just some of the cool things that set it apart from literally 99% of every UI design in the world out there. So if you are ready to level up your portfolio, let's go. Very first thing we're going to do is install Figma. If you don't yet have Figma installed, you're going to go to figma.com/downloads. Make sure to download Figma as a desktop app for Windows or Mac OS. And once you have Figma installed, now we're finally going to get started. Create a new frame. So we're just going to go right here, click on F or just at this button at the bottom, and then we're going to create a new frame. So we're just going to go down to the bottom and then click in the center, and that's going to create an entirely new frame for you. The next thing you want is to obviously be able to change the width and height of this frame. Go down to the right side and then change the width to 1280, and let's just bring this up to 700. It doesn't really matter at this point. The height will obviously be changed because as you start scrolling your page, your height is obviously bound to increase. The next thing we do is add a background color. The color that we're using today isn't pure black. This is a lighter version of black, as I just said. 101010. This is the shade of black that we're using. Alright, and now that we have the background color with us, let us now design our navigation bar, which is the first thing we need to do. Click on a new frame and create this frame to take up the entire width. Once it is of 100 pixels height, this is the point where we're going to start adding all of these different elements. So the first thing we need to add is the name of the brand. Second thing we need to add is the links of navigation, and the third thing we need to add is the main button. So let's just get a fill in here first. Even though we don't need it, it would be nice to be able to see what we're building out and where we're positioning things inside of it. I'm just going to put in the brand name, which is brandrise.co, and the reason I've taken white here is because text in Figma automatically comes in the black color unless you change it, and it would be nice to see what elements we're building out and where they're at while we're building them out. So we have this brand name with us now. The next thing we need to have here is the font, which we don't have yet. The font that we're using for the entirety of this UI is Outfit. Very simple font, OUTFIT. This is a Google font which you can use for both personal and commercial purposes. Completely awesome stuff. Alright, increase the font size. Now we're going to start duplicating all of these different navigation title links. Inside of our navigation bar, we have a group of 3 different links: home, about us, and shop now. So we're just going to copy our title and type out these individual link names, and also we're going to reduce the font size to 14 and reduce the font weight to regular, just because we need to reduce the size of all of these. After we've done 3 of these, we're going to Control G and group them together. And now we're going to use my favorite technique in the world to make the main call to action button. Just type out the text for the call to action button, right click, create a frame, add an auto layout to this frame, add a padding on the top and bottom, left and right, add a fill, add a color to the fill, and also make sure the color of the font is now white because we need a little bit of contrast with the background of the button and the text, and make sure the border radius is rounded off if it needs to be. And now we're finally reversing all of our colors back. So we're just going to go to the selected colors option at the bottom, change the blacks to whites, whites to blacks, and make sure the button text color is changed back to white because obviously we need this white for the contrast with our purple. I've recently discovered a really cool plugin which I'm using all the time, is just all the time. It's called Lumi. It's a super cool plugin by Pablo Stanley and the team behind Musho and all of those other fancy things that we've been seeing for a really long time, and it's super duper awesome. It like these 2 rectangles with us. We're just going to right click on them, make sure to press shift and select them both, then right click, and then we're going to flip them vertically, and this is going to give us this shape. This is very simple stuff. And now we have this weird grid with us. Make sure to group it all together. You can obviously round it off completely, give it a complete border radius of the highest degree, and that's just going to give you these pill-like ellipses. If you're not happy with the way it looks, you can obviously squish this whole thing together and it's hopefully going to be more circular. What do you want with the design? If you could just clarify that would be great. Anyways, the first thing we need to make sure is the border radius here and the border radius here are particularly edgy for these edges. So just double click right here and make sure to just select this corner, remove this border radius, change this 154 to 0, and then that's it. And we're going to follow a similar pattern over here. Double click, select this guy, change this to 0, and then that's it. And with that, we have our primary hero section big art with us ready. Alright, so this is the group that we're going to be playing with before, so that we build out this awesome section. For each of these shapes, we're changing the colors back and also making sure all of these have an image inside of them each. Style this text now, increase the font size, make sure it fits, make sure. Now we need to add a couple of images, which is going to go down here and search for plugins right here. We're going to search for Lumi. Let's just search for all of these different people, and so this is what we're going to do. We're going to go to tools and effects and click on remove the background, and with that we don't have to go to photo room, we don't have to go to any place to remove our backgrounds. We have images without backgrounds, and then just get any image you want. It doesn't matter at this point. Very, very simple stuff. Just get any image you want. You just make sure to change this fill to crop, and then you can play around with this image as much as you want to have something that truly looks incredible. Let's just get a couple of images in. It doesn't matter which. This image is flipped because we just took these rectangles and then we flipped them over here, which is why the internal contents are flipped as well. So we're going to have to fix that. We're also going to make sure these images are flipped back again, so we're just going to flip them vertically. Make sure to click on flip vertical for each individual image, and that's just going to sort this problem out. Alright, my biggest concern here is that when we were flipping this image, this edge got flipped over as well. So we're just going to change this to a really high number. Let's bring this up to 154. That was the number we were working with previously, I believe. And we're going to go over to the top, select the first corner and make sure this is set to 0. Alright, and now just go over here to this image, right click and flip vertical. And with that, we have our images with us. Now you might notice that these are looking a little bit more oversized than we need them to look. So we're just going to go to one of these images and change their fill to crop. And now we're going to move this image around, or you can go to one of these edges, make it smaller, make it fit. This looks cute. Alright, and then we're going to do this a couple other times just to get these things filled out. Just change this to crop, make it smaller. Unleash your potential with every step. Let's just type this out. Alright, so we're just going to get some content, text content here, and we're going to go back, right click and paste it in here to match our style. Once we've done that, let's just bring this up here, put this right here, and you know what, let's just reduce the font size. We're going to make this smaller, put this right here, and obviously we're going to change the color to a gray shade. So this lightens the load on the eyes regarding the dark shade that we've been using. We're going to make this thinner, play around with the thickness of the font. I like medium. And now we're going to add our button. So we're just going to go to the top, copy our button. Very, very simple stuff. Everything looks good. And we're going to get for ourselves another call to action button. Just copy paste it. This time I want pink for the background, so I'm just going to change the color of the button to pink and also increase the font size, just because our new call to action button needs to be in proportion and scale with the new position of the button. The one thing that bothers us a little bit with this title is the spacing it is taking over here. So to adjust that, we're going to go right here and make sure to decrease the line height. And this is going to make sure everything looks really, really nice. Make sure everything is perfectly aligned with each other. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to align with each other. Alignment will save you so much trouble in terms of not knowing things, in terms of not knowing how to figure things out. If you're just aligned, that's good enough for a lot of important parts. The next thing we're building out, obviously, is our next section. We're going to make this bigger, and now we're going to start with our second section. The next section we're building out is this one. It's about the things that we've been featured in. So let's just build out a simple frame. Very, very simple stuff. Put this right here. Change the fill to the purple that we've been using. You can use all of the colors on this page from right here. This is perfect for your own color palette. And obviously we are going to have the image of all of these brand logos. You can find all of these logos in our Discord group. Make sure to join the Discord group, link in the live chat and description. So you're just going to find this as a simple PNG, copy it, paste it back here. Perfect. You don't have to resize it. You don't have to worry about a ton of things. Make sure the text says as featured in. All right. Let's just put this right here. Make sure to increase the font size to 24. And obviously align this perfectly in the center. We're going to shift this down, shift this a little bit further as well, put this right here, and now we're just going to increase the space here. This is going to be the next section which we're building out. This, now you'll notice, is really, really similar to this. So we just have to copy this, paste it, make sure everything is change you change every alignment from left to right, and then just change the color of this button back to purple. So we're just going to take these three elements, group them together, copy and paste them once again, and now we're just going to bring them right here. Make sure to right align every single thing. I feel like we should have made sure the width was same, and now we're going to right align everything. This looks good, and we're going to shift this. Just go to the group, add an auto layout, and make sure everything is aligned to the right. I'm just going to pop out of the auto layout for a little bit because I feel like the spacing here needs to be uneven just so it looks okay to the eyes. Done. And now that we've taken care of this, let's just get this group selected. I feel like we got rid of the group altogether. I just needed to get rid of the auto layout. We're just going to place this right here. Let's build out a simple rectangle, and we're just going to do the bigger rectangle. This is going to be the smaller rectangle. Make this a little bit smaller, just enough so that it aligns perfectly. We're just selecting both of our rectangles now, and we're going to give them a completely rounded off border radius. So just increase it up to the point where the only shape you can now see is a pill-like shape, rounded off completely from all of the edges. The number here isn't really important as long as it's big enough for the border radius. So we're just going to go right here. First of all, we have to make sure this is perfectly aligned. So make sure everything is perfectly rounded off. Squish it together if you need to. Just do it with your eyes. It doesn't have to be perfectly measured because this is just really simple stuff. Select one of these. Make sure to remove the border radius here. Change it to 0. Select this rectangle and just change this to 0 once again. Done. And now we have these two weird circles with one side weirdly edged out, and we're going to just do what we've been doing. So let's just change this to the green that we've been using, and obviously change this to the pink. We're going to get a couple of images in here. Very simple stuff. Lumi is a little bit slow, but the end results are just so completely awesome. We're going to change the image fill from fill to crop, and then we're going to reduce the size of the actual image itself just so it adjusts and fits perfectly in the container. And then we're going to do the exact same thing with our second image as well. And then we're going to change the text of the heading for this section, and also change the text for the description, so we know what the end result is going to look like, and we're going to try to bring this as close as we can to that. And now we're going to start creating our next section, which is the newsletter section, which is to get the user's email ID. So we're just going to change the background color now, bring it back to a lighter shade of black. Sometimes this is a nice trick, changing a completely dark mode, complete black website to a lighter shade of black or a very high shade of dark gray, and it provides you with a nice little difference from our previous section. And we're going to copy and paste our image. Alright, I just copied this image. Right click, and let's just flip it on the other side, or if you don't want to flip it, just go ahead, double click, make sure to click on one of these, change this to say 154. I feel like it was 174 for this one, so I'm just going to change it to that. Double click once again, change the border radius here to 0, and now it's edged out on the other side. And we're going to go back to Lumi, very simple stuff, and search for people. Get another person in here. Just go right here to the suggestions, and with your AI beta in Figma currently, you can remove image backgrounds as well. This is another awesome effect. So now you have an image without its background. It might feel like not a lot is happening here, but as soon as you change the background color to white, you will see that the background has been removed. And the pink that we were seeing was from the background of this image, especially because we had duplicated it first. Alright, and with that, we're going to type out stay ahead of the game. And again, this is very similar to what we've already built out: title, description, and main call to action button. So we're just going to duplicate that once again. We're going to go up to the top, copy and paste it once again, bring it down here very simply. We're just going to put this in here, and again, this is again about changing your alignment. Just change the alignment of everything. Don't worry if it doesn't look perfect. It doesn't need to. And if you aren't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe, because I come here live every Saturday and Sunday. Let's copy some text, paste it to match style, copy some more text, match the style some more. Make sure to match your styles, otherwise it's just going to be really hard to get the things to look good together, make good sense. Make sure to align everything in the center. Just everything should be perfectly aligned. Bring this right here, and obviously we're going to do that once again. If you guys aren't subscribed, what are you doing? I come here live every single Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m, 2 p.m, 5 and 8 p.m. Truly incredible. We build out 8 UI designs within like a weekend, which means you can basically have a complete full portfolio within a weekend. So just make sure to subscribe, join us in these live streams. We are currently on the 30-day design breakthrough challenge, where we post a video every single day on this channel, and you can find the most advanced expert level UI UX design tips in the seemingly random videos that we've posted. It's just perfect if you're just starting out. The next stream we're building out is, surprise surprise, the testimonial section. Let's change the color to green, which we've been using, and type this out here as well. We're going to make sure we have a drop shadow, because getting the right amount of visual contrast here is very important, and sometimes just adding a simple drop shadow helps you increase readability so much. Let's increase the font size to 64 and obviously change the drop shadow. Shift this above. This looks good enough, just so it stands out on the light background. And drop shadows are such a great way to have the text be completely visible, even though the contrast might not be the greatest on your UIs. And now we're building out these cards. So let's just simply go right here, create a frame, add a fill, very simple stuff, add the black which we've been using. By the way, we're only using the black which is 101010, so if any of these blacks is 0000, I just want to get rid of it. And now we're just going to build out the card that we're building out. For this card, I'm going to make sure all of the edges are rounded off, and then we're going to import a new square which we're going to place inside. This square is later going to be styled to accommodate our image for the card. Let's now make sure the border radius for all of these is set to a really high number. Let's do 154, and then we're going to double click and select one of these corners, change them to 0. That's going to give us the distinctive edge. Make sure to adjust the width and height of the frame rectangle if you need to. And now we're going to add our image. This looks good. You can change the size according to whatever it is you want. And we're going to start typing out our title text for the title of this card, and then we'll style it out. To start off, let's reduce the font size to 24. Obviously add the description of who this person is, and let's reduce the font size obviously to 14. Make sure everything is perfectly aligned in the center. Change the width to regular, and obviously change this to gray. This looks good. Reduce the font size to 20. Align it perfectly in the center. Just copy and paste it once again. And we're going to add a little bit of a description. Just, you can pause the video and type this out if you want to. This is just very simple text. I'm not going to type it out. I'm just going to paste it here and match the style. And then we're going to style it together. We're going to reduce the width. Make sure text is aligned to center. Font color has to be white. Font size is going to be 12, just to get things perfectly aligned, nice and easy inside of our frame. Alright, now we'll add a simple fill to this shape, and then we'll also add a stroke, and we'll change the color of the fill to purple, just so everything is nice and visible. And then we'll start adding an image using the plugin Lumi. And obviously we're going to go back to our plugins, search for Lumi. If you don't already have Lumi saved, you're going to search in the search bar LUMMI, and we're also going to search for an athlete. And you know what, let's get rid of the backgrounds. You can either remove the backgrounds from right here and just click on one of these images, and that's going to remove the background for you. Let's go right here, change this to crop, and put this image in the center. And also we're going to add 5 different stars, because this is our brand and we are being very optimistic with the result. Now I'm going to go down to the bottom and search for plugins. I'm going to search for the plugin Iconify, and from Iconify I'm going to search for a star image for the star review ratings in this card. Let's search for a good star. This looks nice. Let's just bring this out here. Make sure to reduce the star's size. So we're just going to go right here. We're going to make the star very small, and also change the color of each star to white. Let's give it a 3-star rating because the comments say so. Let's copy and paste this again and group it together. Make sure the layout has a nice amount of size between itself, and with that we have this ready with us. Let's just go right here. Make sure to reduce this stroke to 1. Copy and paste it once again. We'll copy it a second time and paste it again. And now we have 3 different cards for the 3 different reviews. And then we'll open up Lumi. Let Lumi load up once again. And this is going to be the bane of our existence because Lumi loads up really slow.
One eternity later.
Let's get any of these images inside because it's going to take a really long time.
Many months later.
The next thing we're doing is obviously getting a couple of images in here, and
any image is fine.
This image is currently inside of our shape, but the problem with it is very big. So we're going to go right down to the image fill, click on it, change the image fill settings from fill to crop, and now we have all of the different handles and borders of the original image which has been filled inside the shape. We're going to resize it, make it smaller, shift it down to the bottom just so we have the perfect image.
Change the color for this as well. Double click, change this to, let's do 154 because why the hell not? And obviously change this to 0.
For the third testimonial, we have to make sure top right border is the one that's poking out with the 0 border radius.
We're going to change the color.
One of the comments asks us to do a 4.4 star rating. Challenge accepted. I'm going to go to my 5th star, double click on it, and it'll open up for me the vector points. Get 2 points, one at the top, one at the bottom, and I'm going to connect them, get rid of all of the other connections, add a fill, partly filled out star.
Let's now change these names, and I'm going to talk about a recently new plugin that I discovered which is called Content Reel. And the reason it's so awesome is because you can fill out these fake names, just any name that you want to fill out. Just make sure everything is perfectly aligned. Let's just change out these
Names.
Let's change this image because the same exact character is starting to get on my nerves now. Go to the tools and effects, remove backgrounds, add this image in here, go over here, change this fill to crop, shift this out here, put this in here, and with that we are done. Let's just change out these descriptions
and center line the text. And finally we are at a point where we're making the last section, so I'm just going to get rid of the excessive width from the bottom, make sure it is only wide enough to accommodate our final footer, and I'm going to add a text here which is going to be the copyright statement. If you're on Windows, pressing the window key and full stop will open up the emojis for you. Type out C in the emoji search bar and that is going to give you the copyright option.
Let's reduce the font size to 16. Looks really good.
We're going to make sure the font weight is set to medium.
Let's just copy it, paste it on the other side,
enter all of your footer links. And that is it. We finally managed to create this amazing landing page completely from scratch in Figma. One of my favorite aspects about this entire UI is the consistent visual style we've established and maintained across the brand. Now, if you've made this project completely and you're planning on putting this or any other super duper cool project in your portfolio, this is the complete crash course on the best way in the world to put your UI UX design project on your portfolio to get that dream job. You can find it linked in the description or up here in the cards. As always, be kind to yourself and be kind to me in the comments while you're doing your magic, and I will see you in the next video. Alright, love you, bye.